afternoon, everyone. I feel like I needed to practice coming on here and talking to this account. I tell stories a lot on my personal account, which I'll link on this slide, but I have been hiding from this account because I guess feeling of imposter syndrome, and this full moon in Gemini has really kicked my butt and kind of pushing me to finally get out of my comfort zone and make some big changes. So I feel like I want to clear the slate and set some intentions and clarity here today that I'll put on the highlights for future reference. So when I first made intentional living essentials, I actually thought I was going to be going to thrift stores, finding altar pieces, and then reselling them at metaphysical stores or dealers. And that was not my jam. I was not good at that. I'm good at finding stuff, but I hate selling stuff. And it's interesting because my family all had shops growing up. I grew up at the flea market pretty much. But I never really liked doing that. I like doing it for myself, but not for business. And I consider this a business account for myself to give to other people versus just for me, if that makes sense. It's not my personal account. So when I first made intentional living essentials, I actually thought I was going to be going to thrift stores, finding altar pieces, and then reselling them at metaphysical stores or dealers. And that was not my jam. I was not good at that. I'm good at finding stuff, but I hate selling stuff. And it's interesting because my family all had shops growing up. I grew up at the flea market pretty much. But I never really liked doing that. I like doing it for myself, but not for business. And I consider this a business account for myself to give to other people versus just for me, if that makes sense. It's not my personal account. So then I transitioned this account away from selling objects for altar spaces into, I thought was going to be all magical, mystical, the cat, ways of using essential oils, because I was actively participating in a group, a women's group, who were doing all sorts of practices, and I love learning about so many different ways that I wanted to do them all. I wanted to cover them all. I wanted to share about them all, plus essential oils, because that is another part of my life that I integrate into my esoteric knowledge, research stuff. So I wanted to blend those together, and that felt really unique and resonant with me. And over that year or more that I did that, I learned a lot, and it was really cool to see some other people's perspective and knowledge come through about using essential oils in all sorts of different woo ways. I really hope to continue coming across that because I'm just fascinated by all aspects of that. But I noticed that realistically, my life is not super magical and ritualistic and Instagram worthy, witch style. I'm very up in my head in this stuff that I'm into, and I love astrology. It just makes so much sense to me, and I apply it in so many ways. Okay, as I was saying, yeah, astrology just clicks for me. I really love math. I'm like such a math nerd. I was like on the math nerd team, math competition team, and like I loved geometry whenever I had to take that in high school, and I love strategy and seeing patterns. I'm super freaking organized to where like I feel like life is a Tetris game and I always win. I can organize pretty much anything. Like you could literally ask me to organize your spices and I will probably blow your way. So astrology is a lot like that. Astrology is all about patterns. It's about seeing like the repetition and the like cause and effect of the things above us that create situations in the life around us, and I'm fascinated by that. So I wanted to yeah, I feel like not everyone gets astrology. Maybe some people like hearing the insights, but may not want to study and know how all of the degrees work and what each planet represents, and may just want it like simplified. So that's why I started gearing this page more toward astrology and essential oils, because that's what I do. I mix those two things together to amplify my life and to like support my intentions of where my life is going, and to support me in times where the things that are greater than me are affecting me, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I need some like plants to help me out. So that's where we've been like this last like almost year. And over this past year and some months, I've learned a lot about corresponding essential oils and zodiac signs, and that's been really fun. And like I feel like it's like we're just touching on the tip of the iceberg, but then as you can see, my life changed a lot this last couple months as I had my first child, and I was not forewarned about the whole matrescence thing. Like I knew that I would go from maiden to mother, but I didn't realize like that your whole entire brain gets rewired when you have a newborn, and that you essentially become a completely different person. That was a bit of a smack in my face, like, and shocker. So I needed to make some changes. Okay, ADD moment, but throwback to that original Intentional Living Essentials like creation of this account. This little acorn was actually one of the items that I had on my list of things to sell, and that is something that stuck with me. So that's so random. Okay, continuing on with the story. So after having my daughter, her name is Sylvie, I put her sun, moon, rising on my account name, so I just thought that was going to be fun. I've taken a step away from this page and just like visited it and like did stuff when like I needed it for me to like recharge me and like give me something to do other than baby stuff. But I've been trying to like visualize like how is this gonna work? What is this gonna look like if it does grow bigger than what it is already? Like if people start, you know, even reaching out, like I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna be so freaking overwhelmed. Like I already get so like social anxiety when people message me, but now if I'm like even busier taking care of her, like what was that going to feel like? And I didn't like what I could see. So I knew I couldn't continue like the original vision of Intentional Living Essentials revamped into an astrology and essential oil business page the way that I had a year-ish ago. Like it was Leo season last year. That's whenever it all switched to that. So I knew it needed to change, but I was reluctant because I hate like feeling like spinning my wheels. But sometimes that's how things progress. Sometimes you move forward and then you have to like go diagonal to a different route and then continue moving forward. And this full moon in Gemini just like I could just tell it just had to change. I didn't want to let go of the name. I had branded all of my graphics with that old name, we have to redo all those, but it just had to change. It didn't make sense anymore. So I want to backtrack to this past summer, which I guess would have been Gemini season, and really close to the new moon in Gemini. Wow, I didn't see that until just now. I went to the U.S. convention for Young Living in Utah, and when I was there, I was actually wearing this shirt. I hardly ever wear this shirt. I feel like it's now my uniform for this page or something. I was trying to find clarity and like seeking clarity on like how I wanted to go about continuing this path of like sharing and teaching about essential oils, but in a unique way that's tied to this like astrology system and how to weave that together. So when I went to convention, I was pregnant and I was just entering my second trimester, and things were starting to feel more real, and like it was hitting me like, okay, I'm gonna have a baby, I'm gonna be a mom, and my life is changing. And you know, during the first trimester, things just kind of feel like a dream still. So as I was there, I was like seeking clarity and hoping that some insight would come through of like, how the heck am I gonna do this thing that I'm loving doing and like enjoying doing, and feeling like I have something unique to offer the world, but also be a good mom and present with my child. And I just remember driving up to the mountains to see the ranch. What the heck is it called? I forgot what it's called right now. And like it just like hit me. So Young Living has an entire baby line of products called Seedlings. We got the full bundle like gift collection as part of our baby shower gift from my mom, and it's like all I've needed for Sylvie so far. And when we went up to the Skyrider Ranch, like I just like had this, I felt like divine insight of like star seedlings. Like that's what I need to teach about, is not just about essential oil use for like nerds like me that are into astrology and essential oils, but it's like for moms like me who want to start off from the very beginning of using the knowledge of astrology and essential oils to support their child and like their entire family. So that's, and I remember being scared like sharing that I had this like idea because I was like, oh my god, if I say it out loud it's gonna make it real, and then I'm gonna have to like do it because I'm gonna hold myself to this like guidance that I'm receiving. And I shared it with my team, and I remember Stephanie on my team, she was like, oh, I just got goosebumps. And like that feedback loop has been like in my head since June, and I'm like, oh my god, I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to do this. And I was too scared to do it until now. And finally last night I was like, okay, fine. Intentional Living Essentials is released, and I was accepting the Star Seedlings, but that name was not available. So I realized it needed to be even more clear, and here we are about raising Star Seedlings. So that's how we got this current name and this current vision of this page. So I'm sharing all of this because, one, it helps me feel like I've forewarned everyone about the new way of what this page is going to look like, because I just don't like when things just change abruptly. I like being like soft launched into new parts of life, and also for me to get past my ego of like feeling like I need just awesome graphics and just really put together page in order to give value here, because realistically I am not going to have as much time to make cool graphics. Not that I even actually felt like they were that cool in the first place, but I don't have time to learn how to be a graphic designer now, and I don't want to. It's not important to me. I want to just sit here while my baby sleeps and talk to you about astrology, essential oils, and motherhood. So I'm gonna let all of the dust settle from all of the demo, the deconstruction that I just did on all of my accounts related to this, which if you're not following, I have this Instagram account, I have a Facebook page that literally just has stuff from here send over to there, but you can follow it if you go on Facebook more. I have a Facebook group, which again is being completely renovated at this moment. I didn't even tell anybody. I just did it at like 2 o'clock in the morning when the energy was just really strong. And I have a Pinterest. That's where I have like a lot of stuff, a lot of ideas. All my brain thoughts are on there that I haven't been able to make into my own graphics yet, but stuff that I use personally in my own practice. And I also have a kit.co page, which is linked in my profile for like all the products that I'm mentioning and like associating to anything I'm talking about. I think that's it. I don't have a website. I am going to try to not have to have a website for as long as I can. And then I obviously have my Young Living account information, which I put in the links. It just automatically populates. So I think everything is updated to now being named Raising Star Seedlings, and I'm really excited about it. I'm scared because it feels more like shiny and true than the last account name, and that's kind of terrifying me. Before I share how I'm envisioning and imagining this new part of my journey is going to look, I would be really curious and would love to hear what you do currently. Like, if you're a mom and you're into astrology and or essential oils, like, what do you do with that stuff right now in your motherhood practices? How do you integrate that? Like, what does that look like? Do you just do it for yourself, or do you like teach your kid about it, or like just how does that look? Because I'd love to know like where everyone's at, and like it might even spark new ideas for me too in my own practices. So things I've already done, which I am excited to share about, is when Sylvia was born, I ordered her so many different charts because those sleepless nights of breastfeeding every hour, hour and a half, and like I couldn't go to sleep because it's just torturous. I just read her chart. I read her natal chart information. I read her dominant elements and planets information. I ordered her a star child report, and I loved I loved that. And I ordered her a kittygram, I think is what it was called. Those last two are from Cafe Astrology, and like I feel like I have such a good idea of the challenges that I'm about to face and the exciting things that we're also going to enjoy together. And after learning so much about her planets, her alignments, her houses, all of these things, I also started strategizing what oils I was going to need to support her and what like lifestyle things that she was probably going to resonate with that I could start utilizing now to get in the practice of it. That's super vague, but there's been so much that I don't even know how to like identify just one. But that's, I think, what I'm gonna share about, because that's what I do for my just regular Lisa in real life essential oil stuff. I go into my private group and I just talk about, hey, I'm doing this today and this is like why. And I haven't been doing that for the more intentional stuff that is more like star stuff. So that's what this will be for. So yeah, one thing that was coming through this last couple months was that to connect with other humans, I would really like to be connected with more moms, like just normal, everyday people, it was too broad. Like, I didn't really know, that was gonna be too overwhelming. I am an introvert, so thinking of like just hordes of random people coming and like meeting with me about talking about this stuff, that was a lot. That was too intense. But when I realized, it'd be really nice to have other mom friends that are into this stuff too, because I know that is like a select bunch of us that are like have those combined interests, and I want to find those people. So if you know them, please share my page with them and let us connect and tell them we're going to do this. I feel like a really good starting off place is working with the planets, because we can talk about planets in general, and then I can help show you like how to interpret the planet in a certain sign and how to like find the right oils to support those situations going on in your little star seedling. So yeah, it's not super clear at this moment, and I'm okay with that. But if you would be interested in like making essential oil rollers for your baby that support their planetary alignments, then let me know, because I think that's what we're gonna do, and I would love to like keep you in the loop. Okay, so for example, if you know your baby's zodiac sign, then that means you know where the sun was when your baby was born. That would be their sun sign. Sylvie's sun sign is Libra, and two main aspects of Libras that I feel are really resonant with, that resonated from her chart, are like diplomacy and balance, equilibrium, stuff like that. And throughout the first 2 months, I've been using this essential oil blend called Valor, which I just feel really helps support that need of hers. And I could go into much more detail of like how I've used it, why I've used it, but that's just one very simple example of how I've like blended all these things together, and would love to show you how to do the same too. Okay, so she is done with her nap, and I really liked how this went. I was able to share some stuff, share a little story, got this cool little filter going on, which I'm loving, by the way, and she loves napping on my chest, and yeah, feeling good about this, and I'm really excited to connect with you on these topics, and would love if you do help me connect with other people who are like us and who are doing similar things to what we're doing here. And we'll see how this all unfolds over the next 6 months as everything keeps changing. Okay, that is it for today. Goodbye.